What's up, people? It's your boy Jatwa, and I'm here today in Kerbal Space Program. Now, what you are seeing here is one of my new VTOL series aircraft. This is ProVTOL or ProVTOL. Yeah, ProVTOL sounds pretty good. Now, this aircraft I first thought of, as you can see here, the rotation happens only on the engines, and they are smack dab in the middle of that frame there. Now, I originally had intended to add some additional wings in the middle there, but it wasn't giving me any real benefits, and so I could actually use that area for different things like additional fuel, weapons. As you can see on the bottom here, I actually added an additional fuel tank and some air intakes, so that way I could fly a bit longer, because these afterburners, I love the look of them and I wanted to burn them the entire time. So those afterburners are definitely going to be burning. Now, this version of the aircraft cannot go 300 meters per second because the extra fuel tanks add some additional drag, additional weight. But once I remove those, it can actually make it back and forth from the island base and back without the additional fuel tank. But I wanted to add that in because it simply just added in that extra little bit of awesome. So I indeed decided to do that. So yeah, what you're seeing here is it just flying right around 300 meters per second and just flying. It is so stable. Now, I have two SAS on here, one for the front, one for the back. That is mostly for landing this aircraft. It is, as you can imagine, a bit unruly once it starts to land. Now, I found that I could actually get around having those on there, but I decided to keep them on. And as you can see here, it works out pretty well for me on landings and even during flight, obviously. As you can look around, you see the water effects, the sky. All this is through the graces of Scatterer, one of the more fantastic mods. He's actually got some shadows and some god rays coming soon. I really cannot wait to see how far this thing goes. I mean, I've had a few bits of trouble with Scatterer in the past, but leaving all that behind, it's simply because I was running out of RAM because I was reaching my limit and I had too many mods on. I have since stripped down the amount of mods that I've been using and am down to a few what I call essential mods, that being Infernal Robotics and Fire Spitter are what I consider my essential, as well as Kerbal Joint Reinforcement, believe it or not. I find that one to be, I cannot go without it. So, that being said, I use a ton of tweak scale, and tweak scale is, I believe, should be a stock mod in this. It should be stock in this game because tweak scale adds so much. I mean, sure, they could probably have it so you would have to purchase the bigger units, and some things shouldn't be tweaked out, but that is definitely something that would have to be sorted out by squad. Now, with this design, I have no air brakes. I actually use my engines to air brake myself. So you'll see in a few seconds here, I actually will rotate these engines all the way forward. And once they're rotated forward, my speed drops extremely fast. So once it starts dropping, I will rotate it back, and that will keep my aircraft stable in the air. Because even with those two SAS, this aircraft will get unstable if you try to do something increasingly or incredibly stupid with them. So let's go ahead and kill those afterburners. We really don't need them for landing. I just use them for looks, and I like the additional speed it gives me. A little bit on the top is never a bad thing. So landing this beast is as long as you reverse your afterburners early or reverse your thrust early, you will have a fantastic time flying. If you don't, you're going to have a bad time. You're going to have a bad time. Now, on this version of the aircraft, I also removed, I usually had those struts, the supporting struts right in the way of the fuel, of the thrust, right in the back of those engines. I decided to remove that just so I can have a little additional realism. Even though, I mean, let's be clear, we're not really shooting for realism on almost any of my builds. And bringing this bird down is sometimes a little questionable since things like to flop all over the place. But for the most part, it stays so stable that you can recover it even at the slow speeds. And you can also go over to Infernal Robotics controls and do a lot of recovery thrust maneuvers since those engines can rotate 360 degrees. It is fantastic to have on there. And you see a nice gentle landing. Here we are, and so very close. This was all just me being picky about where I wanted to land. I actually was tempted to hover it right on end to the bay, but decided against it because, let's be honest, I'm going to hit my afterburners after I lift off again because, well, afterburners. Successful touchdown. There you go. Let's give a nice view of this aircraft. I have my brakes already on since I'm doing VTOL landings. Well, that's fine and dandy. Let's go ahead and lift this bird back off and get back to base. All right, here we go. Throttle on up, and go. There we go. All right, and here we are. It's a bit unstable, as you can see there, so I hit the burners, and that does the trick for me. Luckily, I was able to quickly recover that. I did not have them angled at the proper angle. Now, you can actually variably angle these so you can get lift and thrust forward at the same time. So that way, instead of some VTOLs, as you rotate them around, they kind of throw you back towards the ground by mistake. Just as you change that direction of the thrust, things get off kilter. Since this one is balanced all around the engines, it's able to rotate its thrust every which direction and maintain its stability. And of course, along with those SAS units, it definitely adds in a lot of bonuses. So, I guess I'll take this time to explain what we're going to do for this next battle round. The next battle round is indeed going to go over to Duna. It has been it's a risky thing to go and fly on Duna, of course. You're not going to be able to use your normal engines. You're either going to have to use the electronic props as engines, or you're going to have to use some rocket engines, which either one is quite viable. I mean, you can always use RCS as your propulsion as well. Good luck if you decide to do so. Something tells me you get blown out of the sky first because you're going to run out of fuel. I have actually built some RCS fighters, and they worked extremely well. Just something to keep in mind. Soon we will be able to battle on other places. I have been looking at different locations. I mean, I'd like to do Jewel, but I don't think Jewel's going to happen because it takes a lot of preparation to do so. And I do have a craft that I can launch them directly from, but it would be a bit problematic because, well, it's Jewel. I have to do some more testing on that one first. But Duna, I have done a few tests on, and some of the aircraft I have built have flown exceptionally well on Duna, and some have not. I have not tested out very many weapons. I usually just throw guns on there, so I don't know what missiles would actually work. So that is going to be up for you to experiment and find out. So the next battle is indeed on Duna. Let's give you some few little screenshot type scenes here. As you can see, this is beautiful. I love scatter. But yes, Duna is going to be the location of the next battle, so get your aircraft ready. The rules are going to be, it's going to be on Duna. And, well, that's pretty much it. That's your rule set. Build something that works on Duna, and build it to fly well and, well, do its combat thing. That should be plenty interesting already for a first round on Duna. We are getting up on the location where we need to start braking. So this is where I had decided to rotate my engines, cancel out my forward thrust, and bring everything to a great stopping point here. And here's the funny part, is running through my mind is always another crazy idea. That being said, I had decided that I was not going to land back on the runway. At the last second, I said I was going to land on top of the VAB, which normally I'm just blowing up for one reason or another. So I decided to swing this bird around and land on the VAB. It is a little stressful, sure, but at the same time, it is a fantastic target. Now, if you look in really closely, you'll see these white struts that I have out here instead of the normal struts. These are from Infernal Robotics rework. I have Infernal Robotics rework on this aircraft. And so that adds in these rotors, these rotatrons that I'm using. And the overall effect is a great aesthetic view as well. Now, all my intakes, if you're probably saying, oh my god, he only has 2 intakes, he's doing all that. Well, I do have plenty of intakes. There's even more intakes coming in from those pre-coolers. So they have a bit of intake on those, and they actually do work rather well. So lowering this bird directly on here is something I did not attempt until right at the moment I decided to do it. So things got a little hairy as the aircraft decided it wanted to bobble back and forth a lot. That was extremely problematic when I decided I wanted to land without exploding anything. You can see the poor look on Jeb's face as he looks quite a bit concerned. But, you know, he's usually a Kerbal of all smiles. So when he starts to look concerned, you know you're doing something either right or really wrong. And I'm not sure if Kerbals are taking much of a liking to anything VTOL. I've never really paid attention to them when I'm VTOLing. I'm always watching Kerbal Engineer, which I should admit I would really like to see stock, because it gives you so much information. It's beautiful. I've learned a lot from Kerbal Engineer, and I will honestly say it's another one I would vouch for to see go stock, along with I would love to see Fire Spitter as well go stock. It's fantastic. I do enjoy KAX, but Fire Spitter is usually the one I go to because it's already there, ready, and well, I really don't want a lot more parts. Touchdown. Beautiful touchdown. A little lean, but a fantastic VTOL touchdown. There you go. So let's give you a quick view of the aircraft here. Zoom on out a little bit. You can see scatter in the background. Everything's this nice, delicious fog over it. Zooming on out over the entire world. I can imagine how this is going to look once we get the God rays and the shadows from scatter in here, where everything is just kind of, well, that was a little too fast, where everything will be just, oh man, so beautiful as it cycles around. But alright, in closing, next battle is on Duna. If you'd like to see, hit that like button, and hit that subscribe. If you have not already, I would love to have you join our happy family. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Share this one out to your friends. Oh man, just beautiful. This is your boy Jatwan. I'm out. Peace. Our salvos are impacting the VAB. VAB is down. Is it down? Here it goes. I didn't know that was even possible. Oh, oh yeah.